The sky was clear and blue over the peaceful colony planet called Terra Nova. Birds chirped in the tall green trees, and the wind moved softly through the leaves. A young man named Jack Morgan walked alone through the forest trail. He liked quiet. Place's life in the colony town was busy and loud, but here, near River Glimmer, it was calm. Jack was a mechanic. He fixed engines, generators, and broken machines. He wasn't rich, but he was smart with his hands. People trusted him. He lived alone in a small cabin near the edge of the forest. It was peaceful, and that was enough for him. As he walked closer to the river, he heard a strange sound. Splash. Jack stopped. Then again splash. Splash. He frowned. It was not a fish. The sound was heavy, like someone struggling in water. Then he heard something else, a soft, weak voice calling for help. Double quotes help. ... Me ... O quotes. Jack dropped his bag and ran toward the sound. He pushed through the bushes and reached the riverbank. What he saw made him freeze. In the middle of the fast-flowing river, a figure was drowning. It was a girl. Her skin was glowing light blue, and her long silver hair floated in the water. She waved her arms weakly before disappearing under the surface. Jack didn't think, he just jumped. The cold water hit his body like ice, but he swam fast. The current pulled at him, but he pushed forward. He saw her sinking. Her eyes were closed now. Jack grabbed her waist and kicked hard toward the shore. It was a struggle. The current wanted to take them both. But Jack didn't let go. He finally reached the riverbank and pulled her out onto the grass. She wasn't breathing. Jack's heart raced. "Come on," he whispered. He placed her on her back and started CPR. He pushed her chest and breathed into her mouth, again and again. Suddenly, she gasped. Water burst from her mouth, and she coughed hard. Jack let out a deep breath. "You're alive," he said, relieved. The alien girl slowly opened her eyes. They were bright, violet, glowing softly. She looked at him in shock. Her lips moved like she wanted to speak. Then she fainted again. Jack looked around. It was getting dark, and he didn't know who or what she was. But he couldn't leave her here. "All right," he said, lifting her in his arms. "You're coming with me." Jack's cabin was small, but clean. He laid the alien girl on his couch and covered her with a blanket. She was breathing, but still unconscious. He studied her. She had no wounds, only scratches and bruises. Her skin was smooth and glowing faintly. She wore a tight suit made of strange material, shiny and flexible. Around her neck, a small device blinked with blue light. Jack carefully touched the device. It looked like a translator, but it was damaged. Maybe that's why she hadn't spoken. As he stood up to get warm water and a towel, he noticed something. Strange, glowing symbols appeared on her arms lines in circles that moved like living light. The air around her shimmered for a second. "What the?" Jack whispered. The lights faded. Jack gently cleaned her face and arms, then wrapped her in a dry blanket. He sat in his old chair nearby and watched her sleep. He had many questions. "Who are you?" he asked softly. "Why were you in the river?" That night, Jack couldn't sleep. He kept checking on the girl. She looked peaceful now. The symbols didn't come back, but her skin still glowed faintly in the dark room. He sat at his workbench, trying to repair the broken translator device. It looked advanced, far beyond human tech, but Jack was clever, connected a power source, and adjusted the damaged circuits. After a few hours, the device blinked green. "Let's hope this works," he said. As dawn touched the sky, the alien girl finally opened her eyes again. This time she didn't look scared, just tired. Jack walked over slowly. "Hey, you're safe now. I found you in the river." She looked at him then, down at the device around her neck. She touched it and it glowed blue. Her voice came through, soft, clear, and full of wonder. "You saved me," Jack nodded. "Yeah, you were drowning." She sat up slowly. I don't know how to thank you." Her voice was calm, but her eyes looked around the room nervously. "Is this place safe?" Jack raised an eyebrow. "It's my cabin. Only me and the trees out there." She took a deep breath. "My name is Alira. I am from the planet Valari Prime. Jack blinked. That was a water world far from Terra Nova. A peaceful race lived there. They rarely left their home system. What were you doing here? He asked. I was escaping, Alira said. My ship was attacked. I crashed near your planet. I tried to reach help but fell into the river. The current was strong. Jack rubbed his chin. You were lucky I was nearby. Alira looked at him, and for a moment her eyes softened. Very lucky. She stood slowly, testing her balance. I need to contact my people. Jack shook his head. You can't right now. Your translator was broken. I just fixed it. If you were attacked, that means someone might be looking for you. Alira's expression changed. They are, and they won't stop. Jack felt a chill. Who are they? Before she could answer, the air outside the cabin shimmered. A drone flew past the window, silent and black. It scanned the area with red light, then disappeared into the trees. Jack grabbed his small plasma pistol. Looks like we've got company. Jack stood near the window of his cabin, eyes fixed on the dark trees outside. The small black drone had vanished into the forest, but the red scanning light still burned in his mind. He turned to Alira. That thing wasn't from around here, Alira. Nodded, her violet eyes serious. It belongs to the Drelk mercenaries. They work for my enemies. If they find me, they'll take me, or kill me. Jack frowned. Why are they chasing you? You said you were escaping. Alira sat down, wrapping the blanket tighter around her glowing blue skin. I am not just any girl from Valari Prime. I'm a daughter of the High Council. My family leads my people. Jack raised an eyebrow. So, you're royalty? Gave a soft nod. Yes. I was carrying something important. Message crystal. It holds a peace agreement that could end the war between Valari and the Drelk. But they do not want peace. They want control. Jack whistled. So, you're telling me you nearly drowned in a river with the future of your galaxy in your pocket? Alira smiled slightly. Yes, and you saved it, without even knowing. Jack scratched the back of his neck. Well, I'm just a mechanic, not a hero. Alira stood slowly and walked to the table. She pulled a small round object. From inside her suit, it shimmered like water, glowing faint blue. This is the crystal, she said. If I can get it to my people, war ends. But if it falls into the wrong hands, many systems will burn. Jack stared at the glowing crystal. It didn't look dangerous, but he trusted her words. He nodded. All right, then we need to get you to the nearest spaceport. There's one in New Harmony, about 20 kilometers south. From there, maybe we can find a ship. Alira looked worried. They'll be watching. The town. The drones always scout before their teams arrive. Jack crossed his arms. Then we go quietly, through the forest. I know the trails, and I know a few folks who still owe me favors. Alira stepped forward. You're risking your life for me, Jack. You don't even know me. Jack gave a small grin. You were drowning. I wasn't just going to walk away. And now that I know what you're carrying, I won't let them win. By late morning, Jack packed a small bag with supplies, water, dried food, medical kit, and a small toolkit. He also charged 2 hand weapons. One was a basic plasma pistol. The other was something older, pulse blaster from the early colony. War's Alira had changed into one of Jack's spare jackets and pants. They were loose on her, but it helped hide her alien features. She kept the crystal hidden in a small pouch on her belt. The two of them left the cabin and slipped into the forest, avoiding open paths. Jack moved like a man who knew the land. Alira followed closely, quiet and alert. As they walked, she asked softly, Have you ever fought in a war? Jack shook his head. No, my grandfather did. He told me stories, said humans didn't start many fights, but when pushed, we ended them. Alira looked at him. Your people are different. I've met humans before, but not like you. Jack chuckled. I'm just a quiet guy with a toolbox. But you jumped into a deadly river to save a stranger? She said gently. Means something, Jack. Didn't reply. He just kept walking. Hours passed. The forest grew thicker. Strange alien birds flew overhead. The sun began to dip lower. Suddenly, Illyra stopped. Eyes widened. "I sense something," she whispered. "Movement. Behind us." Jack turned and raised his blaster. He looked through the trees but saw nothing. Then Dash Snap a twig broke. "Get down," Jack shouted. They dropped just as a red beam sizzled through the air where they'd been standing. Trees burst with sparks. 3 tall figures stepped out. From the shadows, they wore black armor and moved like wolves. Their faces were hidden behind helmets, but their weapons were clear long-barrel plasma rifles. "Drelk mercs," Jack muttered. The lead soldier shouted in a robotic voice, "Surrender. The Valari girl and you will be spared." Jack looked at Illyra. "Run on my signal." She hesitated. "But trust me," he said. Jack jumped from cover and fired his blaster. Hit one of the mercs in the chest. His armor sparked and the alien fell with a loud grunt. Illyra took off into the trees. Jack rolled behind a fallen log and kept firing, drawing attention. Plasma bolts flew past him. Heat burned the air. He tossed a small device an old mining charge toward the enemies. Boom. The forest floor shook. Dust and smoke filled the air. Jack ran after Illyra, heart pounding. He caught up with her near a narrow ridge. "They'll regroup," she said, panting. "I know a shortcut," Jack replied, pointing to an old metal hatch hidden under vines. "My grandfather built secret tunnels under these woods. Come on." Inside the tunnel, the air was damp and cold. The lights flickered as they walked through the narrow passage. Jack used a small lamp from his belt. "Where do these go?" Illyra asked. "Under New Harmony," he said. "My grandpa helped build them during the colony's early days, in case of alien raids." Lyra touched the wall. "It feels like your people were always ready for danger." Jack nodded. "Humans are stubborn. We might not have the best tech, but we survive." They rested in a safe chamber deep inside the tunnel. Jack gave her water and food. Illyra looked at him and smiled. "You saved me twice today." Jack laughed. "Only twice. Feels like 5. She leaned forward. "If I survive this, if peace comes, I will owe you more than I can repay." Jack looked into her glowing eyes. "I didn't do this for a reward," she whispered. "That's exactly why you deserve one." But above them, on the surface, more drones searched, or mercenaries moved through the trees. In an orbit, a ship waited dark and silent, watching the world below. The hunt was not over too. It continued in part 3. The hunters arrive. The tunnel was dark and quiet. Jack sat near the wall, checking his old pulse blaster. Illyra rested on the cold floor beside him, her back against the stone wall. She was tired, but her glowing violet eyes stayed open. They had escaped the forest. Mercenaries for now. But both knew it wasn't over. Jack looked at her. "How long until your people start looking for you?" Illyra sighed. "They should have sent a scout ship by now. But if the Drelk jammed our signals, they may not know I'm even alive." Jack frowned. "Then we'll need to get your message out another way." Illyra pulled out the crystal again. It still glowed faint blue. "This carries the treaty between Valari and Drelk leaders. If I can send it to my father, the High Counselor, it will prove I survived and that peace is possible." Jack nodded. "The New Harmony is our only chance. I know a relay tower there, strong enough to send deep space signals." Lyra looked up. "Can we trust your people?" Jack thought for a moment. "Some yes, others not so much, but I know who to avoid." He stood and offered his hand. "Come on. If we stay here too long, they'll find us." They moved through the old colony. Tunnels, deeper toward the edge of New Harmony. The underground paths had been abandoned for years, but Jack still remembered the map his grandfather had drawn as they walked. Illyra asked softly, "Why did your people build so many bunkers and tunnels?" Jack gave a small smile. "Humans all learned early. The galaxy is dangerous. We're not the strongest, not the fastest. But we prepare, we survive." Illyra touched the tunnel wall gently. "Your people are strange, but brave." Jack laughed. "We hear that a lot." Suddenly a loud rumble echoed through the tunnel. Boom, the ground shook slightly. Dust fell. From the ceiling, Jack froze. That wasn't natural. Illyra's eyes widened. They're using ground scanners, trying to find us underground. Jack turned and ran. This way, hurry. They moved quickly, reaching a steel ladder that led to a hidden exit behind an old storage station. Jack climbed first and helped Illyra up. They came out in an abandoned part of New Harmony, old metal buildings and empty streets. The air smelled of dust and oil. No people, no patrols yet. Jack led her behind a storage crate and peeked around. The corner, across the street, 3 armored alien mercenaries stood near a town gate. They scanned the area with red lens visors. Transport ship hovered above them, black and silent. Illyra whispered, "They've locked the city down." Jack nodded. "They got here fast." He looked toward the far side of town. "There's an old comms relay on top of the Colonial Archive Tower. If we get there, we can send your signal," Illyra asked. "Can we sneak past?" Jack grinned. "Maybe not quietly, but I've got an idea." Jack pulled out 2 small devices from his bag, signal jammers. He handed one to Illyra. "Throw this toward the fuel depot over there when I give the signal. It'll overload their sensors for a few seconds." "What will you do?" she asked. Jack smirked. "Make some noise." He sprinted across the street, staying low, and placed his jammer near a power line. Then he signaled Illyra. She tossed her jammer with perfect aim. It landed near the depot and blinked red. BZZT-pop. A wave of static burst through the air. Mercenaries shouted in confusion. Jack jumped from cover and opened fire. His pulse blaster hit one of their drones, blowing it apart. The enemy turned toward him, returning fire. Red beams scorched the ground around him as he ducked behind a wall. "Go," he shouted to Illyra. She ran through the alley, fast and silent. She moved like water, graceful and light. Jack smiled. She was stronger than she looked. He rolled away from his cover and tossed a smoke bomb, then ran the other way, drawing the mercenaries after him. Illyra reached the base of the archive tower. The building was old but tall. She climbed the metal. Steps quickly, her heart pounding. She reached the roof and found the relay station. It was rusty, but functional. She placed the crystal inside the port and activated the console. "Come on," she whispered. A light turned green. The signal started. Down below, Jack ran through the alleys, dodging fire. He ducked into an old cafe, breathing hard. But then crack. A mercenary slammed into him from behind. Jack fell to the floor. The alien stood over him, weapon aimed. "You are done, human," the mercenary growled. Jack gritted his teeth. Not yet. He slammed his fist into a switch beside him. An old security door dropped from the ceiling, crushing the mercenary under tons of steel. Jack stood up slowly. Humans build traps too. On the tower roof, Illyra saw 2 enemy ships rising into the sky. The mercenaries were calling reinforcements. She whispered into the mic. "Message sent. Please hear me, Father. I'm alive." But then another sound came, a high-pitched hum. She turned and saw a new ship appear in the sky. Large, silver, and beautiful. It glowed with light and had the Valari symbol on its wings. Her eyes filled with tears. "My people, they came." Silver ship hovered over the city, scanning for her signal. It fired a warning shot toward the enemy dropship, forcing it to pull back. Jack saw it too and smiled. Well, looks like help finally showed up. But just then, the sky turned dark. Shadow covered the city. Another ship arrived, huge, black, and menacing. The Drelk mothership. Its engines roared. Its weapons glowed with red fire. But it was ready to destroy everything. Jack watched in horror. "They're going to wipe out the town." Illyra looked at the Valari ship and activated her comms. "Valari ship, this is Illyra of the High Council. I'm alive. Do not fire. I repeat, do not fire. I've sent the treaty crystal. Protect the humans. Will surrender myself if needed, but don't let them destroy this place." Silence. Then a voice replied, calm and strong. "Princess Illyra, Your orders are received. We will protect your friend and hold the line. Jack climbed to the roof, out of breath. I heard that. You're not giving up, Lyra turned. I must. If they kill everyone just to get me, peace is lost, your people. They've done enough. Shook his head. No, not yet. I've got one more idea. He pulled out a small beacon from his belt, forgotten human defense beacon. His grandfather had told him it still worked. Let's show the Drelk what humans do when you mess with their town. The sky above New Harmony darkened as the Drelk mothership loomed like a shadow of doom. Its massive hull blocked the sun, and its weapons glowed with angry red light. The people in the town below looked up in fear, but Jack Morgan was not afraid. He stood in the heart of the old colony tunnels beneath the town, clutching a small device. It was a human defense beacon, almost forgotten technology from a time when humans expected alien attacks. Jack's fingers trembled. His grandfather had once told him this beacon could call a hidden defense network, a shield of satellites and weapons orbiting the planet, ready to protect their homes. He pressed the button. A soft hum began. Far above, hidden satellites flickered to life. Lights blinked on control panels and radars. The human defense network was waking. Above the town, the Valari ship stayed between the Drelk mothership and New Harmony. Its sleek hull gleamed with blue light. Lyra stood on the ship's bridge, watching the battle below. We must hold them off, she said, voice steady but filled with worry. The treaty crystal is safe, but this fight will decide if peace lives. Jack's voice came through her. Comes Lyra. The beacon is active. Human defense systems will help us now. She smiled softly. Your people are stronger than I thought. Outside, the first wave of Drelk fighters swooped down to attack the town. Red beams and explosions lit the streets, but then the human satellites fired back. Powerful laser beams cut through enemy ships, blowing them apart in bright flashes. The Drelk fighters were surprised by the sudden attack. Jack watched the battle from the tunnel's control room. A small group of human soldiers joined him, all armed and ready. We'll hold the tunnels, Jack said. No one gets through. Lyra moved through the Valari ship's corridors, preparing for a counterattack. She was still weak, but determined. Back in the town, the mercenaries regrouped and tried to break through the defense lines, but Jack and his friends were ready. Using old human tech smoke grenades, pulse weapons, and traps, they slowed the enemy advance. Jack led a small team through the underground passages. They struck mercenary squads quickly and disappeared to the tunnels before the enemy could react. You fight like a true soldier, Lyra told Jack when she joined the tunnels through a hidden hatch. Jack smiled. I'm just protecting my home. She looked at him with new respect. Your people are stronger than I imagined. Suddenly the ground shook violently. An explosion rocked the tunnel walls. New attack, shouted one of the soldiers. Outside, the Drelk mothership fired a massive plasma cannon at the town center. Buildings collapsed, and dust rose like smoke. Jack gritted his teeth. We can't let this happen. We need to stop that ship, Lyra nodded. I have an idea. She led Jack and the soldiers to a secret passage beneath the town. Square a path to the mothership's power source. We can plant charges and disable their weapon, Lyra explained. Jack's eyes lit up. Let's do it. They moved quickly, climbing ladders and crawling through narrow tunnels. The Drelk guards were everywhere. Jack's team used their knowledge of the tunnels to avoid them. Lyra used her powers to breathe, underwater in flooded sections, and to sense enemy movements ahead. Finally, they reached the mothership's underbelly, a giant chamber. It's filled with glowing energy cores. Jack placed the charges with trembling hands. Setting timers? We have 5 minutes, he said. They raced back through the tunnels as alarms blared. Outside, the Valari and human ships fought fiercely with the Drelk forces. Jack and Lyra reached the surface just as the charges exploded. A massive shockwave rocked the mothership. Its weapons flickered and went dark. The enemy ships faltered. The Valari ship fired one final beam, forcing the Drelk retreat. Lyra turned to Jack. You saved my people. Land my home. I owe you everything. Jack smiled. I did what was right. No thanks needed. The Valari captain appeared on the comm screen. Princess Illyra, your message and courage brought peace closer. We will escort you safely home. Jack watched the ships leave the orbit. He felt a strange warmth inside the beginning of a friendship that crossed stars. The battle above New Harmony ended with the retreat of the Drelk forces. The Valari ship hovered quietly now, its blue light shining bright in the dark sky. Illyra stood on the bridge, staring out at the stars with a calm but tired expression below. On the ground, Jack Morgan was cleaning his old pulse blaster. The smoke and dust from the fight still hung in the air. His heart was still racing, but he felt a strange peace. Illyra's voice came over the comms. Jack, please come to the ship. I have something for you. Jack smiled. I'll be right there. Jack walked to the landing pad where Illyra's ship rested. The ramp lowered silently and he stepped inside. The interior was bright and clean. Filled with soft blue light, Illyra waited for him near the bridge, her violet eyes shining. Thank you, Jack, she said simply. You saved my life and the future of my people. Jack shrugged. I just did what anyone would do. No, Illyra said firmly. Humans are different. You risked your life for a stranger. That is rare in this galaxy. Jack felt a warmth he had never known before. Illyra handed Jack a small glowing orb. It pulsed gently in her hand. This is a gift from the Valari High Council, she explained. It contains knowledge, advanced technology, medicine, history. It will help you and your people grow stronger. Jack took the orb carefully. It felt warm, almost alive. And there's more, Illyra said with a smile. This orb will keep you healthy and extend your life. Reward for your bravery and kindness. Jack looked surprised. I don't know what to say. Say you accept, Illyra said, her eyes twinkling. Jack laughed. I accept. The Valari ship rose from the landing pad. Jack stood by the window, watching Terra Nova grow smaller below. Illyra stood beside him. Will you come with me? To Valari Prime? Jack shook his head. I love my home here. I promise I'll visit. She smiled. You will always be welcome. Back on Terra Nova, Jack used the orb's knowledge to help his town. Fixed broken machines faster, healed the sick, and shared the new ideas with his friends. The people of New Harmony began to change. They grew stronger, smarter, and more united. Months later, Illyra returned, not as a refugee, but as a friend. She brought diplomats from Valari Prime to talk peace with Earth. Jack stood with her on the spaceport platform. She turned to him. Without you, none of this would be possible, she said. Jack smiled. It was never about reward. It was about doing what's right. Illyra nodded. That is why humans are special. You save others, even strangers, and that kindness changes the galaxy. Final line. And so, the story of Jack Morgan, the human, who saved an alien princess and helped bring peace to the stars, became a legend whispered across the galaxy, inspiring all who heard it.